Okay, so there's been a lot of drama with the Amazing Digital Circus Community lately, and I wanted to go over a little bit of it just to kind of inform people of what's going on. But also, I kind of think in certain ways, both parties are a little bit right in the arguments. Now, just a preface before people get mad, the part of the issue that's happening here is that people are harassing the creator Gooseworks. And this has happened to the point where they deactivated their Reddit account and even said they don't know if they want to have anything to do with the franchise after it's done. Right? And just to get this out of the way, because it shouldn't have to be said, but apparently it does. Don't go harass the creator because you have issues with the story. Arguably, the story, so far at least, it's not over, but so far, has been really good. And even if it were bad, like, just ignore it. Don't harass them for it. Right? Now, you could make an argument there are reasons to harass a creator. For instance, if a creator was openly being transphobic online, maybe they deserve a little bit of pushback for it. But that's not nearly the case of what's happening here. So just, everyone be cool. Just chill for a sec. It's okay. Now, what happened is that the creator Gooseworks said on a stream recently, and that caused a little bit of issue. So I'm going to go ahead and show the stream right now.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say something that may be event or something, but like going into this series, I never expected one of the things that people would get mad at me for would be making the show focus on the two main characters. I was like, oh, I didn't even know you could get mad about that. It's like building up the show to be about Pomni and Jax. It's like, oh, people are actually really upset about that. I'm sorry.
I think maybe because I don't realize that Jax is like one of the two main characters, you know, because he gets introduced in like the group of five, so it just seems like you're giving one of the other characters of the cast more attention than the other ones, and that might be...
I mean, I think people don't know where it's going, though.
Yeah.
I've seen people get mad about their predictions that just aren't true, and I'm like, oh, well, just hold out a little bit. Like, I swear, it's all for something.
Now, as you can see, there was a little bit here, but the main point is that people are upset about Pomni and Jax being the main characters. And I actually think this is an issue on Gooseworks' fault, not on the community. Right, so there's two arguments there. One being, Pomni is a main character. And I don't think a lot of people are going to push back about that. The story literally starts with him entering the circus. You very well could have told a story without Pomni being a main character, and that could have still been a good story. But I think overwhelmingly, the timing of the story focusing on her makes her a main character, but also the amount of screen time she's had compared to everyone else in the story. And I'm not taking the time to measure this. That's not worth my time. But I'm fairly sure she's had more screen time than everyone else. So yeah, I would say Pomni's a main character. That's okay. The other part of the argument, though, is that Jax is the second main character of the story. And I actually think the fault on this is actually on Gooseworks or whoever you would credit as a writer for the story. Because as we said, the story starts with Pomni entering the Amazing Digital Circus, and then you have everyone else being a character that has already existed in the circus for a certain period of time. And there's arguments for how long, but I don't think that really matters. The point, though, is that Jax is a main character. And I don't think that's been presented very well, if true. Now, going back to the stream we just watched, the story's not over, right? The story's not over. We don't have everything, so maybe we change our minds later on. But at least for now, we're going with the premise that Pomni is a main character, and everyone else seems, in my opinion, to be a secondary character. I don't think Jax has gotten more screen time than other characters in the story. In fact, for a lot of the episodes, I would actually say Jax has gotten the least amount of screen time, maybe secondary to Zooble. But in a few of the episodes, Jax has kind of just been side comedic relief, not doing anything. Right, immediately thinking back to episodes 2, he made some quips, but didn't really do anything to the story. And then episode 3, I think he got tied up and just didn't do anything other than being laughed at for being tied up. So it feels weird to make him a main character, even though he has had a more prominent role in the last 2 episodes, specifically 2 episodes ago when he starred with the main character, right? One of the things that the Amazing Digital Circus has been doing is giving an episode per character to focus on how they're dealing with the struggles of the Amazing Digital Circus and how they've grown. And I think the story overall has been very, very good. I think it's done a really good job of seeing how different characters have grown and changed in the circus. Specifically, I like Kinger's story, but we're not focusing on Kinger right now. But Jax hasn't had much focus until very recently. So I feel like the assumption of him being a main character is very fallible. If anything, I think Ragatha has actually gotten more screen time than Jax. Now again, maybe somebody up there is gonna like do timers and count this out. I'm not taking the time or effort for that. But if someone else wants to, you go for it and you can put in the comments why I'm wrong. But if anything, it seems like Ragatha is a secondary, would be the most likely to be a main character. But I would say everyone except Pomni is really on about the same playing field, right? Ragatha and Zubul, Gangle. I do like their stories, by the way. I really hope Gangle and Zubul have a happy ending. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to have a happy ending. Although there's a good chance nobody has a happy ending by the end of the series. Even Kane, I think, might be getting a little bit more screen time and presence than Jax. So I think Gooseworks saying, I don't know why people are upset about Jax being a main character, doesn't feel like a very solid argument. But I must say again, don't flame them or harass them for it. There's absolutely no excuse for anyone to be doing that. Right? Or at least at this point in the story, there isn't. And it seems like from what I've seen of Gooseworks, they're not going to do anything that I think people should have a very serious issue. Even if the series ends very poorly and people aren't happy with the ending, which is possible, that's not reason enough to go harass creators, right? I think it's crazy when people in fandoms go and harass the creators, the writers, the talent, like the voice artists or whatever, for their part. That doesn't make any sense, right? I don't do that. Just honestly, be better than that. You can have issues with the story. You can talk to each other. There's plenty of platforms. You can go and, create your own stories or say why you think certain things are wrong or correct or whatever. But flaming Gooseworks is not the answer. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the answer to anything going forward. All right? So yeah, kind of just in a quick summary, the community should not be flaming Gooseworks. Which, to be fair, most of the community isn't, I think. But I think if the argument at this point is that Jax should be known to be a primary character with Pomni, I think that's actually very bad writing. The writing did not portray that or make that point across in a very effective manner. Which otherwise, I think is a really good story, though. I'm not even too mad about that, like, if that's incorrect. But, yeah, I think the story is really good going forward. I'm looking forward to the next episode coming out in a month. And then, further than that, we're going to see what the rest of the series has. There's even a comic coming out later in the year that should be, I'm hoping, pretty good. They haven't said much, so I don't know if it's going to be a new series or if it's just going to be a retelling of the story. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, that's it. That's kind of all the controversy going on with the community right now. TLDR, honestly, just be nicer to the creators. If you're unhappy with things, don't flame them. There are ways on Reddit to be like, I wish we got more of Gangle and Zubul going forward. Because in all seriousness, I like their story. I want the two of them to be happy together. I don't think that's going to happen, but I hope it does. Without actually, like, flaming and harassing Gooseworks. Because there's no reason to put that on the creator. They're just trying to tell a good story. And I think most of the community would agree that so far, they've done an extremely good job of that. So that's it. Do the YouTube stuff. Subscribe. I would appreciate that because I only have like 100 subscribers, which is nothing. And then comment. Let me know your thoughts if you have, like, maybe you think Jax actually has been a very obvious second character and I've overlooked something. That's a legitimate opinion I'm disagreeing with, but maybe you convince me. Who knows? That's it. I will see you all later. Have a good one. Bye.